Hello Blues and welcome to the Manchester is Blue show. My name's Tom. Today we talk all things Manchester derby. Yeah, it's a subject nobody wants to hear and nobody wants to talk about. So what do? Talk about it. Myself and Dave for the first half an hour absolutely analyse it to bits. What was good, what was negative, what we can do better and where we go from here. The second half of the pod, we talk about all things City, United, Zagreb and the future, and obviously the Arsenal match on Sunday, which is now massive. Join myself and Dan for that. I hope everyone has a great week and we'll speak soon. So we need to start with the huge elephant in the room that is the Manchester derby.
Awful on many levels.
I was so dejected after that game for so many reasons. I did not recognise that City team that played. So many flaws were exposed by our game. It was unbelievable. The players didn't recognise themselves. I'm not having all this, it's a transition, we need to drop down and rebuild again. Yeah, granted, teams have a fantastic way of, the best teams, you look at like the Sir Alex Ferguson Man United teams, every 4 or 5 years, bring in a couple of new players, rebuild, start again. I don't see that at the moment, whether it's because Pep's not got experience of doing that, which is a key thing for me, but the more and the way we're playing at the moment it worries me to get in Champions League.
I'm very, very worried based on the last few weeks of performances. And a real big problem was as well, we played brilliantly at Burnley. And if you remember what I said on the podcast after the Burnley game, I was hesitant to say how great we were now, because I didn't know if we were that good or Burnley were that poor. And lo and behold, Tottenham smashed 5 past Burnley then. Yeah. So I think we came into that derby thinking, God, we've turned the corner, the players are back, and they weren't back. We just played a very, very, very poor Burnley team. We played well, I'm not denying that, but they weren't a great team when we played, so we're always going to play okay. I completely agree with what you're saying, Tom, that Pep's never been in this situation before. I think is this the longest now that he's managed any club? I think it could be, or on a par with Barca. Don't think he knows what the plan is. Hindsight's a wonderful thing. We needed a central defender, obviously. We needed this whole Zane thing sorted out as well, one or the other. But yeah, on Saturday, I feel, and I spoke to a lot of fans there as well, I think they felt that all we had to do was show up on Saturday and we were going to win that game. Yeah. And that's such a problem. And I'm taking nothing away from United. I think they were fantastic. And a lot of people have said that's the best they've seen United play in several years. And, fair play, I don't watch them every week. But they threw themselves at every ball. They played us incredibly well on the counter-attack. That James looks a good player. They were better at everything than us on Saturday, and that's why I got so upset by it, that there wasn't any positives to take out of it at all.
Their attacking play was fantastic. It was. Every time they went forward, sorry, let me just turn this off, I'm still getting notifications through. Every time they went forward, it worried the absolute you-know-whats off me. It really did. And every time they came forward, I think they're going to score. They're going to score because we look so frail. And their defence looked great. I know we had a bit of pressure. They had a bit of pressure. Wan-Bissaka, I think, had a fantastic game. What a brilliant game he had.
But he had Sterling in his pocket.
Yeah, absolutely. 100%. And you just mentioned Dan James. What a talent he's going to be. He's if he doesn't turn out to be a one-season wonder for United, he's going to be brilliant for him.
Yeah,
I just don't see that core Manchester City team that we have. The defender, the midfielder, and the striker. That was built around that great team of last year and the year before that. We don't have that.
No, we don't.
Yeah, I'm so concerned about where we're going to finish this year. Pep needs to, if this rebuild thing, which I don't really agree with, if this rebuild thing is going to happen, how much has he got to spend now? How much is it? How much to get the players that he wants to bring in to do this rebuild? I
don't know. And I
with it at the moment.
I don't think that's City's way, as you say. I can't see us ever paying over £100 million for a player. I just don't think that is City's way.
Agreed.
So, and then secondly, I think I've mentioned this on a few podcasts, that my concern is if we go and throw money at this problem and then we end up winning, a League Cup or FA Cup or have a good Champions League run, whatever it will be, we're never going to get past this tag of you bought the league.
Yeah, that's going to
you bought all that success.
If Pep's such a good man manager, right? Come on then. What's next, Pep? If you're such a good man manager that you say you are, that everyone says you are, what's going to happen? It hurts me to say that, but I'm kind of inclined to say, prove it. Come on. What have you got? What have you got in your locker now?
Exactly. We've got the chance to see Garcia now tonight, which is great. I mean, we're down to a couple of fit defenders now, so Garcia's going to absolutely get his chance, which I have been wanting, as you know, for several weeks now.
Yeah.
And to that point, if we're struggling, I think this is a season of transition. I hate saying that cliched phrase, but it is. We need to we need to be playing Foden. We need to be playing Garcia. Harwood Bellis needs to get his chance. Doyle now needs to get his chance. Anyone else who's maybe on those fringes, and let's see how they do. We're not going to win the league this season, so why not try and test these players out and then give Pep that knowledge that for the next 6 months we're going to play them, and then we're going to know if we actually need to spend that money in the summer or not. And to your point, Tom, if we just throw money at this problem, then Pep, it won't go down well with opposing fans. It won't go down well with commentators, and it won't shed Pep in a very good light either. That all he's ever done is work with the greatest player in the world in Lionel Messi, the best German team by a stretch, and then the richest club in England. He needs to now show his mettle. He's on £20 million a year. Show us your mettle. Show us what you can do.
Absolutely right. What do you put this down to? Do we purely think? I mean, arguably, if a new manager came in tomorrow, which I hope they don't, hope Pep stays a long time, there's arguably 5 or 6 players that they would want to get rid of and rebuild from. But can we purely put this down to the bad luck of defensive injuries and injuries across the board?
No, I think this is just a mindset with the players. Absolutely. I don't think they've played well since Laporte went. And as soon as Laporte got injured, I think they just, I don't know. Oh, well, it's over. We'll just do as well as we can. And I think I've said before on a few podcasts too that I think the way that Pep sets up his teams and the formation and the training regimen, I think the vast majority of our players are absolutely knackered. They've done 2 years, as we keep hearing, 2 seasons, 198 points, 4 mid-doubles last season. I think they're out on the feet. I think they're done. And that's why, again, I want to bring in some fresher legs and fresher players who will hopefully meet Pep's standards. But buying ourselves out of the problem isn't the answer.
And like you say, that comes with so many issues as well, which we don't want anymore. This is where other clubs will be looking at us going, all right, okay, Pep's not a spending manager, right? Prove it. Come on then, prove it to us. So we needed to spend X amount of money when we were first building this project for obvious reasons to replace the issues that we had. But now is the opportunity where we go, right, okay, you're supposed to be the best manager in the country. The problem is, a lot of City fans are asking it now. I'm asking it. I'm asking that question, saying, right, I don't want us to spend 200 million in January next year. Right, we've got the young players. Let's see what you can do with them. Never winning anything with kids, etc., etc., etc. Right, come on, what can you do for us, Pep? Let's see what you can build from here. The problem is, if he doesn't, and we scrape Champions League this year, ideally, hopefully, I mean, I would settle for second place and a trophy. I think any team in the country would. Like, don't get me wrong, and feel very privileged to say that. I just don't know what's going to happen, and I don't see the shining light at the end of the tunnel at the moment, which is really disappointing.
No, I can't see us where we're getting another win from. To be perfectly honest, we've got a threadbare defence now. De Bruyne's our best player right now, but I still don't think he's firing like he used to. I think he played quite well on Saturday. He tried to rally the other players a little bit, and I think it shows as well that at the end of the day, it was probably a massive mistake making David Silva captain. I absolutely adore him. My favorite, best City player by a stretch, in my opinion. But he's not that leader in the dressing room or on the field as well. If you noticed on Saturday, it was De Bruyne who was running and getting that ball from the ball boy, and and trying to get some spark going. When we had all that trouble, at the side, it was De Bruyne who went over and tried to calm things down. That should be your captain.
A lack of leader was so.
Who does that?
Bright. Yeah, you're absolutely spot on. A lack of leadership was so bright on that pitch on Saturday. It was blinding. It was ridiculous. We just Silva's not a captain. It just doesn't seem to be that type. I don't think I'd be motivated by him. Yeah, fantastic player, but I'm the type of person that likes to be motivated by a Vincent Kompany. That type of player that somebody shouts at me, right, position. It's so frustrating because I love Silva to bits, but I think they've just given it him for his last swan song. And that's obvious now. He's not good enough as a captain for me.
He is absolutely not. And in hindsight, it should have been your final year. Just focus, David, on being the best player that you can be, like you have been the last 9 years for us. Don't take on that responsibility as well. And again, hindsight tells you De Bruyne made it very clear within City walls and in the media as well that he wanted the captaincy. He wanted it. And I think they missed the boat on that. Now I think he really should have got that. But yeah, there's just no positives to take out of it for us. Positives for United were that's our best they played for a long time. They could have had 4 or 5 in my opinion. They were fantastic. And what I like more than anything else about them is their defence threw themselves every ball. I know we scored towards the end, but they threw themselves at everything. They just were not going to let City score. All this intricate passing, no. Maguire, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, was it Shaw, left back? They just weren't having a bar of it on Saturday. And God, wouldn't it be nice if our defenders, even if they're just makeshift defenders, actually played like that and threw themselves at every ball, like Micah and Kompany used to do.
Yeah, I will put my body on the line for the greater good, and it's so frustrating. It's so it's hard to kind of look another fan in the face and go, "Oh, woe is me, we've got issues." But it's so hard to take that loss. But I can't. I've got lots of United fan friends who found it hilarious the way we played and the way we came from. And fair play, so hold your hands up. We didn't deserve anything from it. The problem is, during that second half, I could not see us scoring if we played for 3-4 games, and then Otamendi of all people comes up and gets us the draw, and then all of a sudden there's like 3 minutes left, like right, or however long it was.
Yeah.
Sure. And then it was like, right, okay, come on, and that little chance of hope of getting it. But United was solid, absolutely. Solid. Why are we still doing corners with Kevin De Bruyne taking corners? We might as well pick the ball up and throw it behind the net and let them have a goal kick. We've got more chance of scoring from them giving a goal kick away.
Exactly.
I don't understand anymore what we're doing with corners.
I don't understand that. And after our podcast on Wednesday, we all talked about the performance of against Burnley, and we all said, keep exactly the same team. You've got to give them a chance. So I want to understand why Otamendi was taken out of that starting lineup and they put Stones in.
Yeah,
I don't understand it. And again, we've said this time and time again, we're not in the training ground. We don't know what's going on. We don't know if Otamendi was carrying a little tweak or something like that. But I don't think so. because if he was, he shouldn't have even been on the bench.
Correct.
So why didn't we start with exactly the same team as we did against Burnley? You saw them celebrating after the game that, come on, yeah, we're back, we've got this. What does it say to Otamendi when he puts in a great performance against Burnley and then he's dropped again? And lo and behold, he comes on and he's the one who rallies us a little bit, and we get a goal.
No, you're spot on. I can't disagree with it. We've had a couple of fan questions come in. Here's a really good point by Reece Walker that wants us to talk about the transfer window. And he really wants us to talk about this from a personal point of view of, obviously we've got a lot of weaknesses and injuries coming through. Fair enough, we've had a lot of injuries this season, but when you look at City, and I really understand Reece's point here, when City are named, City are the team with depth.
Yes, they are.
Look at Liverpool's team. They're not as strong as City. City got depth. City got the team. We've obviously not. We've obviously absolutely not got the strength in depth that people say we have in certain key positions. We're not the depth team, are we? Yeah, we've got a load of really good players.
Yeah,
none of them.
You look at that bench tonight against Zagreb. You've got Sterling and you've got De Bruyne, etc. on the bench. But those key positions, as you say, particularly in goalkeeper and defence, like we've got Bravo in goal. Bravo. And look who's on the bench, Carson. We don't have strength there. We need to, whatever that American goalkeeper's called who's playing in Germany right now, Stefanos or something like that, like end the loan and get him back to City, because that's his club, and get him playing there. And we don't have any defenders. And all you ever hear from Pep is that we're going to buy another midfielder, another midfielder, another midfielder, another midfielder. No, we need to start looking at the striker positions. We need to start looking at the defensive positions rather than yet another defensive or attacking midfielder, which just seems to be, Pep had that famous quote, didn't he, a few years ago of, if I could, I'd play 11 midfielders. I mean, it's obviously, he likes getting a player who's a midfielder, and he likes trying to accelerate their positioning by being able to use them in several positions. And as you said at the start of this call, Tom, what we're really lacking right now is that spine, that real strength in depth in that spine.
We've had James Bunkell raise a point, which is a really good one. Is Angelino good enough at this level? Would switching Walker to centre-back alongside Ferner be the better option than Stones, and put Cancelo, who's looked good, get more game time? Angelino was so out of his depth. It was like a fish going for a walk in the Sahara Desert. It was painful to watch. But that's not his fault. That's not his fault. He's a young lad coming through that. So we discussed last week. Dan made that really good point of, if we had strength in depth there, would he be playing? No, probably not. But he had a good couple of games, but against good clubs, he wasn't strong. He was not good at whatsoever. As to James's point, putting Walker alongside Fernandinho, yeah, I'm sure Pep's done that in the past, hasn't he, when he's played three at the back, and obviously it's happened before, but it's not his strong point. But I can understand his point there. He's a defender, fast. But I tell you what, Walker was brilliant against United. If we didn't have Walker in that team, we would have conceded a hell of a lot more goals.
Our best player.
So quick, really impressed.
Our best player by a margin, Walker, really, because he at least was reading the game better than anyone else on that team. And they were just cutting through us like a hot knife through butter, and at least we had Walker there. Yeah, Angelino, totally out of his depth. I hate saying it, but he really was. That was not a game for him. And as I say, I'm struggling to take any positives out of it whatsoever. I would not put Walker at the back, because I think what we're tending to do over the last few weeks is we're putting square pegs in round holes. Fernandinho is not a central defender. He's doing okay there, but we kind of miss him as that defensive midfielder that Rodri is going to become. You see little snippets of how good he's going to become. He had a poor game, Rodri, on Saturday. Very, very poor. So I think putting Walker at the back with Fernandinho, I don't know. He's not a central defender. I don't think it's going to work. We need to... I would have Garcia and Otamendi there, and then Stones when he's back in a few weeks. And I would put Fernandinho back in his preferred role it's not going to happen, but this is just my wish list, and have Rodri sat with Guardiola during games and just coaching him through. This is what I want you to do.
Yeah, absolutely. Just literally the master and the apprentice just going for it.
Exactly.
Garcia's got. I mean, Keith Alexander, one of the fan questions come through, has raised a really good point, saying if we don't play Garcia and Foden more, they'll be looking to exit the club. Garcia's been excellent in every game he's played. Yes, he has. Foden won't leave the club, but Garcia must be thinking to himself, why am I not getting game time here when Otamendi's playing, when Stones is playing? You know what? Why not? I'd be asking that question as well. If he's not got City at his heart like we have, why would you want to stay and play back up?
I think Pep said something really interesting in the press conference, and he said, and I couldn't quite believe that he said this. He said, I only have 2 defenders fit and Garcia. No, you don't, Pep. You have 3 defenders fit. You have Cancelo, you have Walker, and you have Garcia. If I'm a player who's trying to break into the team and really should be starting, and my manager is saying, "Oh, I've got those defenders and I've got this kid as well," that would not sit well with me whatsoever. Garcia has played in the first team. Everyone is baying for him to try and get a few games under his belt as player, because Tom, you've hit the nail on the head. This is what's going to happen. He's not going to get any game time. He's going to do what's the player who left United and went to Barcelona? Married to Shakira.
Oh, the defender.
Yeah.
I can't remember his name. I know what you mean.
Begins with P, I think, doesn't it? That's exactly what. Yeah, that's exactly what's going to happen. We got him from Barcelona. He's come to us. He's worked hard. He's obviously very, very talented. He's not going to get the game time. He's gonna leave, because big clubs, I guarantee you, Barca's, Juventus's, etc. PK.
That's a Google that. Yeah. PK.
They go. If we're not careful, Garcia is going to do a PK, and he's going to take all this talent,
Sancho,
and he's going to leave. If we buy a central defender in January or in the summer, that is a real kick in the teeth for Garcia. When, I know he's young, but he's good enough, so play him.
Put it this way: how many teams out of the 20 would he get into the first team in the Premier League? Quite a few, I reckon. He'd be on the fringes of a lot of teams.
I would think the vast majority that he would get plenty of game time.
Yeah.
So I couldn't agree more that these Fodens, these Garcias, they're going to want to leave if we're not careful. If the strategy is going to be, okay, well, we'll just go out and buy whoever. I know Dan is very keen on us getting this Ruiz from Benfica or whatever. I'm still dead against it. I think this is a season where we need to get our youth playing, and let's give them 6 months, and let's give them that experience, see if they're good enough, and then we sit down in the summer and decide, okay, here are the positions that we need to strengthen.
I completely agree with you. Here's a good question from Moira Fenton. Moira's asked quite a good few questions, so thanks for dropping this one in, Moira. I appreciate it. Who do you think will go in January and the summer, and who do we have looking to replacement? For me personally, no one's leaving the club in January. I can't see that for what we're too weak, having this depth, with massive depth we've got, with no players.
No one's going, in
my opinion. And in the summer, crikey, that's a really tough question. It depends how the season goes and who we have to replace the players who want to leave. I think Sane is top of the list. I think for lots of City fans, it's probably top of the list for Sane to leave as well. I think we all know that he's not committed pen to paper. Although his Twitter, his social media started to get a bit more active and pro City in the last couple of weeks. I don't know if anyone else is that. But that doesn't mean anything until he signed a contract for me. Here's a pen, Sane. I can send you this pen. You can have this for free, pal, if you want to sign.
Yeah, please do.
Yeah.
I think we've really missed Arne, because I think Sterling's been very, very hot and cold for us. I don't think he's played well for several weeks now, and he continues to get all these plaudits. And I get it, but if you're watching him week in, week out, I don't know, his game seems to have regressed for me, that he's still wanting way too many touches on the ball. He had a couple of chances on Saturday, and he just refuses to take a shot. He just wants to walk it into the net. And I thought where he'd really got a lot better is that he was taking those chances, and that's what Arteta and Guardiola had coached him on. So I would love Zane back to actually be challenging Sterling a little bit. I think it would make them both better players. And I kind of hoping Zane isn't looking at this and really, really wants to go, that maybe he thinks I'm going to stay and I think I can make a difference to City, because we've still got the core of an incredibly good team. Yes, we need to make 2 or 3 signings.
Best player. Him and Sterling can rip the league apart next season. If those two have their heads switched on in the right direction, we get a striker, whoever's playing up front for the next season. That could be formidable. Excuse me. He's got to look at it and go, but it depends where his head's at and where his mum's the not admin coach, the agent for him. So where's his head at?
And what we've got to, I mean, you're right saying we can't really make any predictions now, because if we have a really poor season, let's say that we don't qualify the Champions League, who's to say that Aguero, who will be going into the final year of his contract, our big player, De Bruyne, even Sterling, I know he's just signed a new contract, but they're just going, I don't want to play City anymore. I want to move. I want to go somewhere else. That you don't know. We need to work out this season of where we finish in the league. Have we finished on a high? Have we won a trophy? Are the players getting on together? Is there a good team spirit? If so, then we'll probably keep all those players. If not, don't be surprised if some of these players are turning around and going, you know what, I've done my stint here at City. I want to go somewhere else now.
No, absolutely. Andrew Mack, a fan question is going, how are you doing time-wise, Dave? I'm conscious of
I'm okay.
Yeah, okay. Andrew Mack, one of the fan questions that come in, it's a really good point, this. Is Pep over-relying, I'm paraphrasing here, Andrew, I hope you don't mind, is Pep over-relying on constantly playing the first team players that we've got, over fatiguing them for them to be injured and not giving the first, the not reserves, but the second tier of our team the opportunity to play, and obviously doing that rotation more to avoid injuries? That's a really good point. Now, a lot of other teams are doing the rotation, a lot of other teams are blooding the youth. Pep doesn't seem to want to, and is that overexerting our first team to the point of injury?
Yes.
That's a good point, Andrew.
I think, Andrew, basically, as we've been saying on the podcast the last few weeks, I think that the players are knackered from 2 years of gaining 198 points, of playing all those games to win us all 4 trophies last season. I think they're shattered. This comes down to trust. And I think Pep's even said it in some of his press conferences. He doesn't trust the second 11. And that's a real kick in the teeth for the Fodens, for the Garcias, for those players, for the Angelinos and Mendy's, etc., etc. These players who are getting some time but not starting. That's it. It comes down to trust. And if I'm a player looking at that, and there's all these injuries, and he'd rather play a half-fit Fernandinho or a half-fit Stones or whatever it is, rather than give me a chance. Do I want to stay at Manchester City? Well, I do, because I'm a huge blue. But apart from Foden, who's got that tie to City that I'm not getting any game time? And I'll just stay. No, they want to stay, and that's exactly what Sancho did.
No, you're absolutely spot on. We've had a question here from Adam Potts. Do you think we should concentrate on the Champions League now, as we have no chance of winning the league, and use our academy players in the league? Absolutely not. Is my point to that, Adam. I wouldn't like to put all my eggs in one basket. I couldn't understand where you're going, pal. Absolutely, I can understand that question, but we've got a long. Was it 22 games left in the league? It's a long way to go.
Probably our best chance of winning the Champions League was last year. If we'd have beaten Liverpool, I think Tottenham. I think we could have gone all the way, because I think we had that momentum, and bloody VAR ruined it, and whatever else. And we were on a high. We won all those domestic trophies and we're playing well. I would never say let's go for Champions League, because we're not a very good team in the Champions League.
I agree.
The Barcelonas, the Juventus, the Reals, PSG, Liverpool, let's be honest, they'd all beat us. Even if we put our current strongest team out, we'd get beaten.
Yeah, I can understand it. We're struggling in the Premier League, and with the cream of the crop in the Champions League, we'd need an awful lot of good positive decisions from VAR. We need an awful lot of really favourable decisions from a referee, and neither of those are happening for us in the Champions League, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I've got a question here from Thomas Knight. You're not going to like this one, Dave. Neither do I. The league's as good as gone. Do we want Leicester to beat us next home game as they are home to Liverpool on Boxing Day? Absolutely bloody not.
No, I never ever want City to lose. Ever
in a million years would I want Leicester to beat us. One, I'm going to that game, so I want to enjoy it. I won't go over the wise, and the league's not over. Until it's mathematically impossible, you play to the whistle as far as I'm concerned. Anything can happen. Yes, Liverpool are absolutely fantastic. Do I think Liverpool win the league? Yeah, I just think the form and the momentum's with them. Do I want another team to beat City? Absolutely not. No, sorry, pal. No, I can understand why you ask it, but no. Not me.
What we're now playing for is a top 4 spot. So I maintain we need to win every game now between now and the end of the season. Are we going to do that? No, but we need to try and cement that place, because then it becomes in the summer. Okay, who's going to come to us if we're not in those 4 places and we want to do some big buys? Well, the biggest players aren't going to come to City if they're not in the Champions League. So, no, we want to absolutely thrash Leicester. We want to thrash every team.
So we've had a few questions come in from Wayne Heath. These are quick fire ones, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
How do you rate Rodri's performance this season out of 10?
7.
Okay. Do we need a centre back? Yes, I think I can answer that one. We need 2.
2, please.
Yeah, 2. Can we push for second place when our key players return? Yeah, absolutely.
Yes.
When's Laporte back, by the way? Do we have any idea?
I heard January or February. So what I was really surprised about, as you know, I bumped into Zinchenko before the game on Saturday. And, I asked him how he was doing, and, he said, I'm on course. I'm doing okay. I'm staggered that he's on the bench today, because he wasn't going to tell me, but I would have thought he would have said that, I'm ready to play or something like that.
Yeah.
But,
sounds quite media trained to me, that.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking that it's just, they're saying February, but hopefully with Laporte, it's going to be more like January.
I hope so. Who's been our standout player this season? Christ.
Well, you know what?
Boys?
I'll probably surprise some people here. I'm actually going to go for Ederson.
Yeah. It's done nothing wrong.
The reason I say that is that we've all known Ederson being, this wonderful 21st century goalkeeper that we like. Great with his feet. It starts the moves from the back. But what I've been really impressed with of Ederson this season is his actual goalkeeping and his shot stopping. I will argue with anyone. For me right now, he's the best goalkeeper in the world, because not only is we can all agree that he's best with his feet, and I've said before, he's got a kick like a bloody mule. It's ridiculous how far he can hit a ball, but with precision and pace. But he's got the goalkeeping side of things now as well. And for me, I wouldn't swap him with any other goalkeeper. And from a consistency basis, and because De Bruyne's been up and down, same with Sterling. Rodri's had a couple of good games, not so good games. Ederson, for me, has been the player of the season.
Absolutely, I can't argue with that. And I don't remember him being at fault for any goals we've conceded.
I mean, that Martial goal on Saturday, could he covered his post a little bit more? But I've not seen an angle from behind the goal, and I think Martial just did that very, very, very well, and I think it caught Ederson unaware.
I'll be honest, I've not watched the highlights. I can't.
I don't think I can.
I'm so frustrated. I've had to find a new podcast this week, Dave, to listen to, because the 606 one, I just can't stand it. I'm gonna have to listen to it tomorrow because I've got a long drive. But it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating to do, but it is what it is, isn't it? But yeah, I better let you get back to work, Adam, tomorrow, mate.
Yeah, so fair play. I'll just finish with this. Fair play to United and my United friends who I've spoken to as well. But have all kind of said the same thing, that was really a United performance. If I can say this is kind of like when City played Burnley last week. It's the same thing. We were Burnley to Man United's Man City on Saturday. Yeah. We were poor. They were very, very good. And much as I dislike, what did someone call them yesterday? Trafford All Stars. Is a City fan on Talk Sport called them Trafford All Stars, which I quite liked. Much as I dislike them, I am man enough to admit and been a City fan for that long that the better team won, and they fully deserve that. And that's what a lot of my United fans were saying as well. They weren't really having a go at me. I think they were more surprised than anything else that how poor we were. But we move on, and that's all we can do. And let's hope we win tonight.
Absolutely. Well, it's lovely to talk to you as always, and we'll have a chat next week and hopefully have a bit more of a smile on our face.
You know, Arsenal away on Saturday. I've got to be honest, I'm not hopeful, but we'll see.
Are they coming back into the pomp?
Well, it's just we've always been that team, haven't we? Where Almiron, I was talking about in the Newcastle game. He's never scored for Newcastle, and I said he's going to score because it's City. I mean, he did the assist. Arsenal have been on a very poor run. We're the sort of team that they're going to put in a performance against, and we're going to win. And they're going to win. So
it's Sunday 4:30 kickoff. So it's on telly, televised. We need a result. There's no performance. Sorry, we need a performance. There's no.
Yeah, we do.
No hesitation about that, and
we absolutely do.
Absolutely, mate. Well, I'll speak to you afterwards, my friend.
Damn good. City till we die.
Cheers, mate. Catch you later.
See you later. Bye.
Bye-bye. Thanks very much for that, Dave, for that. And now we welcome Dan Fielding to come on board, or Admin Fielding, as you'll know, on our Facebook and Twitter page. Let's have a good chat about all things City, United, Zagreb, and of course, Arsenal. So we welcome Dan to the fold. Dan, I won't lie to you, pal. I've just had a quick chat with Dave. Things were a bit doom and gloom on the old City front, especially with the United match in front. So I know you've got a lot to say. I know you've had a few chats on the site recently. But how do you think the United game went, and where do you think we went wrong in your opinion?
For me, it was a decent game. Take the scoreline away. We played our game of what we have been in recent matches. It's just an unpopular opinion, and I've been hounded for saying it. We were beaten by a much better team on the day, and that's the full. We may have the better players at the squad, and I think that's everybody will agree with that. In general, we've got a better team. Just on form, United were relentless. They played exactly how any team who wants to beat City should play, and that's defend deep and attack on the counter attack. And United did that perfectly, and that's the only reason we really struggled. But there was still a few positives to take away from the game, and one of them, and again another unpopular opinion, Otamendi. He came on, and the difference he made when he came on late on into the game, just almost solidifying that back line and also getting the goal to get us back into the game. It was like a completely different Otamendi, and he carried on the form he showed against Burnley as well. And it was nice to see from him. There was no standout performers, obviously, but it's just one of them. We get these games, don't we? We don't play poorly, but we just get beaten.
I think the way I looked at the game, I thought United thoroughly deserved it. I thought they're fantastic. Their defence was brilliant. I mentioned to Dave before, I felt Walker was our key man. I thought without Walker and his pace, we would have conceded an awful lot more.
Walker and Rodri was playing very well.
And like you say, I don't think you saying about Otamendi is all that negative to me. I'm disappointed that he dropped Otamendi, because I thought we should have just played the same team that we played against Burnley. So if they're bringing Stones, it says an awful lot for me.
I think the only reason he brought Stones in is Otamendi's. He's very good in the air. He showed that with the goal, but he's not the quickest. Stones is quicker than Otamendi, and he probably makes a lot better challenges tracking back than Otamendi. Otamendi's quite keen and content to draw a foul from defending, whereas Stones, he may be a bit more unlikely to go in for a challenge, but at least he's more likely not to give away a free kick or a penalty, if you know what I mean. He's a lot almost calmer tracking back than Otamendi, but it's just one of them, I think it was Guardiola saw it. I understood it, It's gutted that he got dropped, but I don't think anyone could have seen United playing as well as they did.
No, I was really surprised, and it's really frustrating to see. We've had quite a load of fan questions come in. Do you mind if we ask you a couple? Because some of them are really poignant to what you've just said, particularly about our defence. Jürgen Jensen has asked the question: should we bring in another centre back in January? If so, who? I'm on the belief that we need 2 centre backs coming in. What's your thoughts on that? You like a certain player, don't you?
Ruben Dias. I think if we were to bring him in, I don't think we need to worry about a centre back until summer. He's exactly what we're missing. However, I know we're not going to touch on that till a little bit later in the podcast, but Howard Bellis, he came on for the last 10 minutes tonight. And for me and my stepdad were talking during that game. We do need a centre back without a doubt. Everybody can see that. But what we need is one that takes everything on the chin. He's vocal, he's a leader, but also just somebody who just gets in the way of a shot. Doesn't mind putting his body on the line. A bit like Rodri has been. Rodri's been doing that, but obviously he's a midfielder. But Howard Bellis tonight, he came on and he was so aggressive. He wasn't afraid to go in for anything. And the Zagreb, one of the wingers came on to the attack. And Howard Bellis, we saw him, he drifted off right up towards our goal where we were keeping quite a high line, and we thought, oh God, he's going to mess up here, he's going to play one of their lads onside. But their lad cut in, and Howard Bellis actually just stood his ground, beefed himself up and blocked the shot from even going anywhere near Bravo and in between the posts, and it went out for a corner. And for me, that is the sort of play we're missing. I'm not saying Howard Bellis is it, because he's far too young for us to determine that. But if we were to bring in Ruben Dias, he's a leader. We've seen what he's like with Portugal's first team. He just gets in the way of everything. And I think if we have him and Laporte playing together, that back two with the wings will be perfect. I think we'd see out.
It's really interesting. We'll come on to the game tonight in a bit more detail later, like you said. Joy Dotter has asked the question about bringing in a couple of players, particularly Sonungchu from Leicester. It's hard to say after one season. I've seen him play. Yeah, he's been fantastic this season. But is he going to be the finished product? Again, first year wonder, Erling Haaland. Yeah, looks like a fantastic striker. But is he in the Pep mould? He's also mentioned he or she. Forgive me, Joy. I'm not too sure if you're he or she. Has also mentioned some. I just don't get this. Shelvey and Bale. I just don't. We're not going to get either of them. Shelvey's definitely not in the mould of our player. And Bale, we just can't afford him. I don't think to bring him over. Plus, I think he goes completely out of what we're looking to do and bring in young players to come through. One point that they do mention is a really positive one. Is not positive. Is a really good point. Is about how wasteful we are with our set pieces and corners. Yeah. I can't understand for 1 minute why we are. The only thing I can think of is that we've got such a small team. We're not capitalising as much as other teams. Because obviously we saw Otamendi score the other day. I can't remember the last time we scored from a corner or a free kick that was indirect. I don't know about you.
No, it's definitely an area that we're lacking, and we see that when we all get frustrated when we see the two centre backs going up for the corner kick, and we just play it short. De Bruyne is the key. He always seems to play it short. Yes, we're probably more effective doing it short, but if we've committed our back two going up for that corner, the least you can do is whip it in. If it don't come to anything, it don't come to anything. At least we're trying. If it does come to anything, then full credit to him. But I still don't. I understand why we're playing it short, but I don't understand why we're doing that when our back line's up there. We're struggling defensively as it is this season. Why are we having both our centre forwards, who are arguably the tallest in the team, going up, and then it seems they're attacking us on the break? It just doesn't work.
No, you're right. And do you think we need a taller striker? I mean, Isaac Skidmore's mentioned time to potentially start to consider replacing Sergio and with the likes of Harry Kane. I'd love Harry Kane at City. He's not going to come. I can't see it.
I wouldn't. I seem to be the only one who's saying this. I could not ever want Harry Kane in our team at all. For me, don't get me wrong, he's very clinical. He's a good striker. It's the Champions League final last season. You stick Mora in that Champions League starting lineup instead of Harry Kane, which he should have done. Spurs would have won that game. I bet any money he would have won that. Harry Kane, he's sort of everything Sergio Aguero was when he first signed for City. He'd take the ball and do it himself, but he's not as agile. He hasn't got the balance. He hasn't got the composure. He knows how to hit a good goal. He knows how to find the back of the net, but he's not the full package. You know, Aguero is the key example of full package. Scores goals with his header. His weaker foot is probably arguably as good as his normal foot. You could hardly tell his left foot's his weaker foot. He scores goals for fun with that. Harry Kane, he's just a one-dimensional striker for me. You stick him out on the wing, he's useless. You know, Aguero could be out on the wing. He could do anything. We do need, for me, a tall striker. We're missing Dzeko. Getting rid of Dzeko as early as we did was probably, you could argue, a mistake, but with the trophies we've won, we haven't missed him. But this season, when we're struggling to play our way into defences and we just want to whip a ball in, no one's really there for the height. Yes, Mendy can do driven crosses and stuff like that, and we just need to stick a foot out when it's in the back of the net. But when they're high, they're going over everyone and going back to the corners. It's a waste of a corner as well. It's
frustrating, isn't it, for want of a better thing. Where do you see us going from here? Obviously, we know that the result from tonight, which we'll talk about in a minute, but from a league point of view, what can you see happening in the next couple of months to see the best of what we've got?
For me, the league's gone. For me, it's horrible to say. Mathematically, the team in the lower part of the division can still win it, but Liverpool, they've got too much luck. The boss in some games, you know, it's just sometimes luck's all you need, and they've got bags of it this year. And when we all thought that VAR was going to come in and stop a lot of the goals that they scored last season that won them the games, VAR was going to come in and stop them getting anywhere near the top to this year. It didn't happen, and you know they've had a couple of goals that they scored that VAR should have ruled offside, but there's VAR all over. We've had goals that were given that shouldn't have been. We've had goals taken away that shouldn't have been. It's the same for everyone, but they're just relentless. They don't look like they're letting up, and we've let up too many times this season. For me, you know, 3 losses at maximum this season. We'd be in contention, but we've already had 4 now. That's. For me, it's done. I'd be happy with the way Leicester are playing as well to finish 3rd. I wouldn't like it, but I'd be happy. I'd be content with it as long as we've got the trophy, though.
Take 3rd. I'd take Champions League qualification and a trophy.
Yeah. No, I would.
In 2nd and a trophy before the United game.
Yeah. But I think we just all, as much as everybody hounds everybody who comments those sort of views and says, "Come on, we should be winning every game. We're still in this fight." You've also got to be modest and say, look,
I agree.
Liverpool are bossing it, whether we like it or not. They're going to win the title for me. Leicester are going to challenge them all the way. But for me, I don't see Liverpool slipping up this year.
It's not over till it's over, but they're looking so strong at the moment.
Yeah.
Let's put a massive, thick underline underneath United, because I was saying today before, I've not listened to any podcasts. I've not seen the highlights of it. I've been gone to it, and I've proper spat my dummy out on Saturday night. I thought, right, that's it. Done for now. I know what we're doing now, talking about it. So let's move on. We've lost. Get on with it. 4-1 against the mighty Dynamo Zagreb. How did you think it went?
It was a tale of 2 halves. First half, up until when Jesus scored his first goal, we had bags of possession. It was the highlight of this season. We had bags of possession, tons of passing. We had a fair few chances at goal. Nothing comes of it. Second half, we played like City of last season and the season before. Clinical, passing, moving forward, finding those through balls. And I have to say, the 3 youth academy players that came on tonight, Howard Bellis only had 10 minutes, but he showed exactly what we're missing. Garcia, yes, he was quite out of possession a couple of times, but he was solid. Foden, man of the match for me. You can take Jesus scoring hat-trick any day of the year, fair enough. Foden, no, he ran that midfield tonight. The balls he was playing, some of the passes that were played to him were pinged at him, and you'd think, how the hell's he controlled this? He took one little touch, slowed the ball completely dead, and just took another touch with his other foot and got the play straight. He was absolutely phenomenal tonight.
He just glides across the pitch. He reminds me of Silva's old. What a player. And it's so good to see Gabby get a hat-trick. Superb hat-trick at that, by the way. He's done well there. He's done really well. I know people say, it's only Zagreb, but you've still got to put the ball in the back of the net. It's going to be brilliant for his confidence.
And you got to think Zagreb gave us a game at home.
Yeah,
it wasn't as easy running, and we played a lot. Albeit we had some mega money stars in the lineup tonight. We set them aside at their place. The one downside to Zagreb going out for me, and that's their fan base. They lost 4-1 tonight. Those fans stayed behind, waving flags, jumping, clapping, everything we want to see at the Etihad, highlighted by them. Yes, when they came to the Etihad, there's some things that we should never see, put it that way. But it's just something that I think we're missing from being the overall package.
No, I know what you mean there. What I liked tonight was, I kind of feel that Pep said to Foden, there's your chance.
Yeah.
He really, really capitalised on the opportunity to play well. And he did really, and he just ticked that box. Well done. Really, really well done. Have you seen our stats? We had 75% possession. This is City of Old stats. They like this. We had 13 shots compared to 6, 7 on target compared to 2. 2 corners against 5 and 6 fouls against 8. So for me, those I like those stats. That looks good to me. That's City of Old, that. And it's what I don't want with this is what happened to Burnley, and I get my hopes up of a bit of a false dawn, and then we go to United and get beat, because Arsenal is a massive game. Pep's going to make wholesale changes from this team that's played tonight to play on Sunday. And rightly so, there's a lot of first teamers out that's not in there, but a lot of those players must be asking questions now. Why am I not playing on Sunday?
Yeah.
Why am I not having a chance to having a chance to get in that lineup? Yeah.
One player that should be in that lineup, and he'll be switched around, no doubt. Angelino will definitely come in. Mendy tonight was the Mendy of old. First half. I put the first half to one side. We were not City of the past 2 seasons in the first half. We were City of this season, really, for me. But the second half, Mendy, some of the balls. I mean, the second goal Jesus scored. Mendy's ball in was fantastic. It really was. And he did a couple of them after that as well. And he was winning balls as well. It's not just he was up the pitch and that was it. He was doing, like I said about Angelino, he needed to be like Walker and track back. That's what Mendy was doing tonight. And he was tracking back and he was winning balls and doing what Foden did. Kill the ball dead, touch it with another foot, get back up the other end of the pitch. And that was what Mendy did tonight. And he was another good performer tonight. Absolutely. And he needs to start against Arsenal for me.
How good was it to see Zinchenko come off the bench?
He's an unsung miss, we've missed him massively.
Can you believe when Wolves tried to sign him for 13 million quid? We're actually glad he came. He's getting back to fitness. It's so good to see.
No. He's playing in his natural position as well tonight. He even played centre forward for a few minutes. But it was nice to see him, and I think we might be seeing. Going out on a whim here, but I think we might be seeing more of him in that midfield now that Angelino's played a few games and Mendy maybe just about to start finding some form. Means Zinchenko can fill in that midfield a bit more now, or maybe even be pushed out to the left wing a little bit, because he has played the left wing before, and with him obviously being playing left back, that might mean that Sterling can now move over back to his natural position on the right wing.
Yeah.
And Bernardo Silva can drop into central mid.
I actually predicted that Zinchenko would start in midfield today. And I was out there. I should have known better than to think he'd start a game straight away after injury with Pep being his manager. But no, I'm happy tonight. It's the problem we've got is Arsenal are going to be right up for it on Sunday, and rightly so. They came back from, was it 1-0 down the other way to win 3-1, So they're gonna be absolutely buzzing, and it's going to be interesting to see. But it's great to hear that Mendy's having a good game, because that's just perfect timing for me with Zinchenko coming back. That's a bit of competition in that defence, which we badly need. My God,
but it's like what you said, though. It's almost heartbreaking that we can't really get our hopes up after tonight, like the thing with Burnley, like you said, and go to United and get beaten. That's, we always go for the win. We may have a bad performance and lose, but we always go for the win. And hopefully, just with the kids playing well tonight as well, hopefully that will just spur everything on, the energy and happiness.
Absolutely. Let's see the dressing room bouncing again. But I'll retract that. Let's see the energy of the dressing room bouncing after we beat Arsenal on Sunday.
Yeah.
Zagreb tonight. We're already through tonight. Dead game. Get it won. Get some goals. Fantastic. The game that matters, as you well know, is the one against Arsenal. What's your... Come on then. Score predictions. Let me have it. You know where I stand on this. I'm not touching this one on the barge pole. It's a massive game.
It depends if they get a manager in. New manager syndrome. It always happens, doesn't it? No matter if whoever team it is, a new manager comes in, they win.
And for the first game.
I'm going for.
Oh, don't say you dare say that number.
3-1. 7-0.
Good footballing scores, my dad would say that. 3-1. Yeah. I just want to win. I don't care. I don't care if the ball ricochets off Ozil's arse and bounces into the top corner.
98-minute penalty by VAR. Yeah.
Would it be nice if VAR went for us this weekend?
You're joking, aren't you?
Nice.
Yeah, you can't even joke about things like that.
Oh, fantastic! Right, well, have you got anything else to say, mate? I think we're pretty much done. I want to wash my hair of all what hair I've got left of all the United drama. Great win tonight, and let's talk next week and hopefully have some positive news from the Arsenal match.
Yeah. Let's get all the admins on as well. Let's just have a good win against Arsenal, a good proper City chat about it.
Absolutely, mate. Well, it's always lovely to talk to you, pal, and I'll speak to you very soon.
All right, take care, buddy.
See you later, Blue. Catch you later.
See you in a bit. Bye.
Bye.